The punch list starts at the beginning of the job for me. Everything is punch list. Everything on a job is punch list. And everything that you need to do, you just keep adding to this list and you keep taking it off every day that you get something done. The punch list is not something that you feel you've closed the job out and you walk through and you punch it out. The punch list is created every single day of this project from commencement through completion. What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday for me. Definitely not Tuesday for you. It feels like it's like 5 Mondays in a row. I am so tired right now. Closing this job out is kicking my butt. Um, I have a punch list. I keep going through the punch list. I keep having to add things to the punch list. Things changing, adding this. We need to fix that, do that. Kicking my rear end. So this blog post so also blog post, check out www.moderncraftsman.co. You can read the actual written blogs that correspond with this recorded podcast. So if you want to check them out, please do. Also, hop online to the website. We have pencils for sale. We have Hive notebooks for sale. The Hive notebooks turned out really cool. If you need a job site notebook or you want to get one for somebody for Christmas, for Hanukkah, for Kwanzaa, for New Year's, whatever it may be, it's a really cool job site notebook that Ken DeCoste from Materia designed, but it's waterproof, basically, like indestructible. Keep all your notes on it. Leather bound. I think it's vegan leather. Really cool. So check them out. Go purchase some of them. Let us know what you think. And what else? Yeah, so punch list. That's what this blog and this podcast is on. Um, I just want to be forthright and say this is not on managing the time required to punch a job out, because I've been doing an absolutely horrible time of doing that. Working really long nights, working a lot of hours, trying to button this job up so that I can get the cleaners in there starting tomorrow. So take that with a grain of salt. This is not how to manage the timeline. Like I said, this job has presented so many challenges, and with every step forward, there's at least one step backwards. But we're still closing this thing out, moving ahead. Just a little bit more work than we anticipated. But this is more so punch list as far as how I ensure that everything gets done on a project, so that when I wrap all my tools up and I get out of there, everything's finished. If there's things that still need to be addressed, it's a very concise list. But ideally, I'm walking out of a job and that job is 100% buttoned up. This job, there's going to be some odds and ends that I need to come back for parts in the kitchen that had to be reordered. So I'll have to button some things up there, but most of the work will be completed. I want to walk you through how I do that. But before we get started, a word about our sponsors, not from our sponsors, about our sponsors. The podcast is brought to you by Andersen Windows. Check them out at andersenwindows.com. Make sure that you know how to spell that. It's Andersen Windows.com. They have a really cool tool on their website that I found to be pretty useful if you're a customer looking for windows and doors, where you can type in andersenwindows.com, click on windows and doors, and they go to find your perfect match. And you can choose windows, you can choose doors, what type of windows or doors. Just clicked on patio doors. Then it gives you more options. Do you want a gliding patio door, hinge patio door? You're not sure which way do you want it to swing, and it kind of walks you through sequentially what will work for your space, if budget is a concern, timeline's a concern, design's a concern, and it'll help you get to the options that best suit your program. So check out that tool on their website. This is also brought to you by kuikenbrothers.com. Go check out their website. Ryan over there does a great job with really populating that website with great information, great content, a lot of really good resources. Go online, order your molding catalog. I'm wrapping up this project, and I use mostly stock trim in this job because we're matching details in the house, but I'm offloading the project, and I have a piece of Kuiken Brothers primed finger jointed poplar with a comparable molding profile that's prime finger jointed pine. And I was loading them into my truck to bring them home after work to bring into my shop. And I was like, dang, why is this piece of molding so heavy? Is it wet? And then I realized that I had one of the Kuiken Brothers, essentially like a comparable molding. The Kuiken Brothers molding is it's much deeper, it has nicer shadow lines, much heavier. But like just grabbing a pile of these and then loading them in, I was like, "What? Like, is this molding wet?" And then I realized that it was the poplar molding, so not the pine molding. So the amount of dense wood in these poplar moldings versus the pine moldings, it you can just feel the difference there. That for me translates to more stability on a job, a harder product, a more durable product. So all my projects where we are replacing all the moldings, it's definitely my go-to. Check out their traditional moldings. Again, order that molding design catalog. You'll be able to bring it to the job. It's got the line drawings, everything in it. So kuikenbrothers.com. That's Kuiken brothers.com. All right, on to punching out a project. So this is by no means any sort of crazy hack for punching out a job. My system is very simple, but it gets the job done. It can be transferred to customers, to subs, to employees, supers, designers, whoever it may be. Um, but essentially, in my phone, I use the notes tool all the time. So I have a notes document for every project that's going on. It has hours, it has schedule, it has critical details, it has anything with regard to the job. And so throughout the project, when I have things that I need to do, I start adding them to this notes folder and I start obviously punching them out. Usually it's week to week, things I need to get done, things I need Justin to do. But as the project closes out, this document turns into my punch list. Um, so I always have a list of things that I'm trying to do on a project, but oftentimes I'm doing other things, right? If I'm in the middle of painting and I see that there is a switch plate missing or there's um some touch up that has to happen to the floor stain, for me to stop what I'm doing at that point can be counterproductive. I can also it turns into being a little bit of a nightmare. You stop what you're doing, you go pick something else up. It doesn't really work for me. So I need a way to add all of these little things when I'm closing a job out so that I can do it immediately. It's not going to stop my workflow. I don't need to go get a pen and paper. I don't need to get my computer. So I just use this notes tab on my phone. So every day as I'm closing a project out, anything that I see on the job, it could be that I need to paint this little section of caulk. It could be that I need to sand this one little section. It could be that I need to install railings on the second floor. Large items, small items, they all get added to this list. um, so I have this ongoing list, and at times that punch list will grow. Like ideally, it's always getting smaller, but the more you hone in on the details, closing out a project, um, the more things you end up adding to this punch list because you're hyper focused on everything. So the punch list sometimes grows more than it shrinks, even though you're working on it. But this is how I'm able to close a project out and not have things that I'm missing, because I'm documenting every little thing that I see as I come across it on the job. I always have my phone on me. It's on my pocket or it's in my tool belt. So if I walk down to the basement and I see that I have the customer's furniture um, covered with plastic and I'm not going to break down that plastic right now, I'm just down there to flip the breaker. I'll pull my phone out and I'll make a note to pull the plastic off of the chairs down in the basement. So by the time I leave this project, all of these notes will be off my phone. So every day I'm just adding things to this. I can send this document, a shareable document, to Justin. He can add and he can work off this. This punch list is really good when he needs things to do and I'm busy, or I'm on the phone, or I have to go take a meeting with the customer, the designers come, and he doesn't want to bother me. There's always a list of things that he can do to stay busy. If he needs 5 minutes worth of work, if he needs 2 hours worth of work, there's things on this punch list that he can knock out towards the end of a job when there's just always things to be done. Um, it gets to be really chaotic at the end of a job. There's a million things going on. Every trade that you used on the project has to come through the job. Every tool, every product, every material, everything's getting used. So it's like there's so much shit all over the place. There's so much going on. You cannot expect to keep it straight just in your brain. So all of these little notes, I just keep with me. I keep adding. I keep working at this list. It can be overwhelming how much stuff has to happen and how many tools you need and what you're going to need to break down and what you need to do. But having this list is reassuring and gratifying when you're able to knock 4 or 5 things off it and you watch it shrink. And then it's like, I don't have to do, like, that's the last time I have to do this on this project. So it does help keep me in high spirits. It helps boost my morale where you feel as though it's never ending. You're never going to be able to climb your way out of this, and you start seeing tasks disappear. So what I end up doing on the punch list is every day I'm adding these items, and then at the end of the day, as I complete them, I remove them. But then at the end of the day, I'll go through and I'll double check that I didn't miss anything or that I didn't leave anything on the list. But I'll itemize them and I will categorize them according to trade. So um, like right now I have electrical, I have paint, I have carpentry, plumbing, exterior work, miscellaneous paint work. So I'll start breaking all of these items that I add to my punch list out into sub trades. So ideally, I'm not going down this list and saying, "Oh, I need to touch this paint stuff up." I'm going and getting the paint stuff out and then I'm putting it away and then I still have other paint stuff to do. Like when I want to do paint touch up, I'll do all the paint touch up at once. When I have to spackle areas on the wall, I'll do all of that at once just to try and remain efficient. Um, what what ends up taking precedence over that though is at the top of this punch list, I have all time sensitive or items that are essential to the critical path of the project. So there's certain things, right? The electrician was there today. I needed to cut the outlet boxes into the side of the end panels on the cabinet. They could probably do it themselves, but I have a specific location. There's drawer boxes in there. It's a finished side. I want to get it right. So I want to get ahead of them. So that's not going to go with my electrical scope. That's going to go up top as a significant item, as a time sensitive item. So I will work to complete those items first. Um, so that's one thing that I do go through on this punch list, and I will anything that's really important that has to get done will go up top. I will not necessarily have that in the appropriate or the respective trade as you go down because it's going to get completed before we get to that anyway. Um, Again, this if you have employees who work for you, if you're running multiple jobs, is a very simple system where these notes can be transferred. It can be a shareable document. People can add to them. They can remove them. They can edit these notes, whatever they need to be. It's super simple. Um, I find it very easy to do this on my phone. Um, Again, when you're closing a job out, there's sub trades there. You have people asking you questions. There's designers there. The customers are there. Sometimes the moving people are there. You're scheduling people. You're answering questions. You're dealing with hiccups. You're adding things to the scope of work. You know, for every 2 steps forward, there's going to be at least a half step backwards with a lot of things. You run into issues. So I don't necessarily want to break my train of thought or break what I'm doing, and I want to be able to just pull my phone out, right? I was sanding some patches on drywall, and I was cutting. The electrician was coming today, so I was cutting out where the spackle had overlapped the boxes, and I realized that, like, there was a part of spackle missing. I didn't want to go and spackle this at this point. It's just a little chip right near, but it's, like, very prominent right where the switch plate cover is. So I just made a note of it on my phone. I have the electrician trim it out, put the cover on, wrap it all up. It's on my list when I go to do touch up paint to pull that cover, spackle that, sand it, touch it up with paint. But if I didn't, if I could not immediately put that in my phone, I would 100% forget about it, because I'd get a text, I'd get a phone call, I'd get an email, somebody would ask me for a question, or I'd just continue doing what I'm doing and be in like a la la land and forget about it. So I want to, like, for me, the key is to have a system where you can immediately and permanently put these items on a list, and then you can manage that list, and you can itemize and categorize that list according to trade, um, sequence, and critical path in order to maintain the schedule on the job. um, it really helps for me to be able to do that immediately. And again, this punch list was generated at the beginning of the job. So there's items on my punch list that I ran into 4 months ago that just really aren't critical to the path of this project and closing this job out. So they just stay on that list of things to do in whatever sub trade they are. Like the sprinklers were against the house. um, I capped them. I spoke to the irrigation contractor when he came out, and he pulled them, he blew the lines out, and then he put the caps back on, but I want them to get moved. So I've had the conversation with the customer about it. They made a note on the irrigation shutoff, but this was like while I was still demoing. But I want to ensure when I am finishing this job that I follow up with everyone, with the customer and with their irrigation contractor. He's not. This is all existing irrigation. He's not my contractor. That those lines get addressed and moved when I leave this project come spring. When they do startup, I do not want them blowing on the side. So, the side of the house. So I have a note in my phone from 4 or 5 months ago to make sure that I address the caps and the irrigation lines that are against the house. I've had the conversation with the customer. I've had the conversation with the irrigation contractor, and he made notes on his bill to them, but I want to follow up again. If I don't have that in my phone, there's 100% chance that that will never get done. So things as simple as that go on the list. And as I'm closing this job out, when I pack up at the end of this project, I want nothing left to be on that list. If there's things that, right, they ordered some new doors that were warped, some doors that didn't fit, we're ordering some cabinets to fix some things. Those I will not be able to do, so there will be those things on the list, but everything as far as pull this one piece of tape that's on there, unmask the lights in the basement, rehang the light fixtures that you pulled so that they didn't get damaged down in the basement when we were demoing the floor, hook up the attic fan that the roofer switched out for the electrician. All these little things are on there my brain would never be able to keep straight, and especially if you had multiple projects going on. And again, this list can be passed to subs. It can be sent to designers. It can be sent to the customers if they want to add to it, so that I'm not relying on 8 different documents and a sheet or something that I wrote on the drywall that then got covered up or has primer on it. It's right on my phone. It's a shareable note. It's super easy. So that would be my advice for you. Again, I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. This is not complicated. It worked for me. I'm able to close out a project and know everything. Every single day I'm going through and I'm combing through this project and I'm seeing things to add and things to take off. So over the 6 months, if I didn't pick up on it and I leave this job and I completely missed it, then, like, yeah, I missed it. I entirely missed it, but it wasn't because I just forgot to do it. I legitimately didn't know I had to do it, or it completely went over my head. Um, so if there are things on the punch list that I do not complete, it was completely on me. Um, So this is my system. Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. This is what works for me. I'm sure that people have probably um, more involved systems, more involved ways of communicating these. I'm not saying that mine is the most technologically advanced or that it works better than anyone else's systems. For me and my scale and my business, this works great. I know that I'm closing a job out well and that I have everything that I need to do on this project. So if it helps you out, feel free, integrate it. But the punch list starts at the beginning of the job for me. Like everything is punch list. Everything on a job is punch list. And everything that you need to do, you just keep adding to this list and you keep taking it off every day that you get something done. If something else comes up, there's certain things that you can't forget to do. So you just keep adding to this punch list. But the punch list is not something that you feel you've closed the job out and you walk through and you punch it out. The punch list is created every single day of this project from commencement through completion. And that's what helps me develop and execute a proper punch out of a job. So I hope this helps you guys. Again, do not take my timeline on this project as words of advice. I would not heed my advice because it's now 5:30 on Tuesday that I'm recording this, and I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna go back to the job to get a little bit more work done there. Um, Work a little bit into the night, but this is the push to get these customers in. Again, we've ran into a lot of things, even closing this job out, that have just added to my schedule. But I can't make more time in a day, and I'm not going to bump these people's schedule. They've already been bumped 3 months with unforeseens that we ran into up front. So I'm going to do my end and keep pushing forward and get these people into their homes. They've been great customers, and I feel for them with everything that we've gone through. So I hope this helps everyone. I hope you guys have a good week. I hope you get some rest, and I will catch you next week. I'm really looking forward to closing this job out because I'm going to have a little bit more time to get back into the swing of things and really spend more time and devote more time to the main Modern Craftsman podcast and this. I still devote a lot of time to this, but I've been juggling this and field work a little bit more than I wanted to. So I'm really excited to be able to devote a little bit more time to this on a weekly basis. The past few weeks have been tough, but that's life, that's business. Still trying to get done everything that I have to and everything that I feel that I want to on a week to week basis. So as always, I appreciate all of the emails, correspondence. If you've reached out to me and I haven't got a hold of you in the past few weeks, it has been crazy and I haven't had time to stay on top of paperwork. So don't hate me for it. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the insight, the feedback, the support. Go check out Modern Craftsman, order some pencils and some notebooks. Have a good week. I'll catch you guys next week. See ya.